Welcome to the Piston Fanatic. I'm your host, Dave Dalton, and I'm excited to share my passion and perspective of our Detroit Pistons as we go on this fantastic voyage together. I've been a die-hard Piston fan since the days of Dave Bing and Bob Lanier. I've also been the varsity basketball coach of a very successful program in northern Michigan. Well, I want to thank all you listeners for making the Piston Fanatic the fastest growing podcast on the airways for the Pistons. And please subscribe and like. We're going to get into the game tonight. We lost our 18th in a row to the Memphis Grizzlies, 116 to 102. Our record is now 2-19. Figure Law is a big advertiser on the Piston telecast, but I don't know if you noticed their slogan is "All we do is win," and it appears that the Piston slogan is "All we do is lose." It just appears that way, and it's very disheartening. And I know I guaranteed that we were going to win the game tonight, and we lost. And so I have something just to lighten the mood. Again, it's very disappointing, but I'm going to take you back to 2004 Eastern Conference Finals. Pistons lose game 1 to the Indiana Pacers, our hated rival. They were a phenomenal team. These games were bloodbaths, and the Pacers were loaded with Reggie Miller and all those guys. But right after the game, Rasheed Wallace gets interviewed, and here's what he had to say.
Y'all put it in the front page, back page, middle page, wherever. Headliners, column 1 or 2, we will win game 2. We will win game 2.
So that was the famous, iconic GUARANSHEED, and we went on to win game 2 with the great block by Tayshaun Prince. Reggie Miller had a breakaway layup that looked like was going to be the game winner, and Tayshaun comes out of nowhere and blocks it. And, we ended up winning that series 4-2. But let's dive into the game tonight. And again, the fourth quarter was a killer, 34-18. We get outscored, which is always a bad quarter for us, and we don't execute in the fourth quarter. Desmond Bane was the other big problem. 49 points, 19 for 31, 4 for 8 on threes, and 7 for 7 on free throws, and we could not stop him. And all I can say is we have one of the best on-ball defenders in the league to match up with anybody. He shut down Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on the minutes that he was on the court, and any other good player he's done a great job is Ausar Thompson. And Ausar Thompson spent about one possession guarding Desmond Bane tonight. So whenever Desmond was in the game, Ausar wasn't. And when Bane checked out, Ausar checked in, and of course Ausar only played 16 minutes again. He's hardly got to play. And I would have played him. I mean, that's you got a weapon like Ausar, you have him guard somebody like Bane that's just torching you. So anyway, hopefully in the future that happens. I know hopefully Ausar plays. I think it's January 12th, I think. The Pistons are playing the Rockets. And the Pistons and the Rockets have collaborated together, and they made a double bobblehead with Ausar and Amen. So Amen's not played a lot this year. He's not got a lot of minutes sometimes, and he had a sprained ankle too. But I got tickets to that game. I hope that they both get to play a lot, and who knows, by then maybe things will have changed. But the big thing that I want is I want to see CADE and IVEY and BOGEY play together. And tonight they finally got to for a little bit in the second quarter. So Jaden IVEY was the 11th player to enter the game for our Detroit Pistons. The 11th player that Monty Williams put into the game. And, he was 4 for 5 in the first half, 2 steals, 2 assists. He blocked it, Desmond Bane shot, and he looked phenomenal. But he played only 24 minutes, and I want him to play with those guys. I know that combination, I've been so much looking forward to that. They went on an 11-2 run with those 3 guys in there together, and we looked awesome. And and even during that stretch, CADE made some great passes to BOGEY, who made 4 out of 8 threes, but he missed 2 wide open threes on dishes from CADE. So Monty, after the game, he says that he should use IVEY more. That he needs to use IVEY more and better, and maybe he's got to lower the minutes and have some tough conversations with some of the other guys so he can get him some more minutes. So I don't know, it just seems like it's taken too long to figure that out, but I don't trust him. I don't believe that he's necessarily going to do that. He said it puts a strain on the rhythm. So to those of you that think you can just that Ivy should just go into the game and play awesome when he's the 11th man that goes into the game, and that's not going to affect him. Or when he only plays a minute, few minutes here, a few minutes there. He had a game earlier this year where he played only 13 minutes. You know, Monty's talking about these guys got a rhythm to get into, and I know he said these young guys, it's not as hard or bad for them to not know they're going into the game or how much they're going to play or when they're going to get to play, but it does matter. And when you got somebody that's as talented as Ivy, you at least find out we're losing games. We got this young guy that shows signs of being a great player, and we put him in 11th. So got me a little bit worked up again. I don't understand, and I don't know if I ever will. But and then Monty talks about people taking personal pride, and we let Bane drive to the basket too many times, like 3 times in a row once, and that happened. And do we have the right guys out there to guard him? And nobody's good. He's a great player. One thing I want to tell you is in 2020 we had 3 first-round draft picks. Desmond Bane was picked 30th, I think. But I mean, that's you can easily criticize Troy because we picked 3 guys ahead of him, but 29 other teams I think picked somebody ahead of him too. So that just happens in the draft, but it just is ironic that we had 3 first-round picks and we passed on them 3 times. So um, Cade, he has to step up and play better. He was great in the first half when he played with Ivy, and he was 4 for 5, 1 for 1 on threes, 0 turnovers. And in the second half, he didn't do as well, and he comes off that high pick and roll, and there were a lot of times tonight, if you watch, he had a lot of open space to shoot that pull up jumper just inside the elbow, and he didn't pull the trigger, and he kind of dribbled and then kicked it out to somebody. And I just wanted to see him take that wide open shot there. And he passed in the second half, he passed up a bunch of threes because I think he lost his confidence because he was 0 for 4, I think, in the second half on threes. But our team, as a team, another big thing that cost us the game was wide open threes. In the Grizzlies, they're the worst team in the league at defending the 3-point shot. They give up the highest percentage of 3-point made shots. And we got those wide open looks. We just don't have the players out there to knock them down, except for Bogey tonight. So we were 11 for 35, 31%, and Bogey was 4 for 8. So without Bogey, we were only 25%. And again, we had wide open shots on threes. And there was a stretch where I don't know, Monty said that we were like 1 for 8 or something. They were 5 for 8 on threes in the second half, and they had a bunch of other guys make threes. Jaren Jackson Jr. torched us too, and we couldn't stop him. Stu's no match for him. He's just too much longer and too much bigger, and he was 24 points, 10 for 20, 4 blocks. The mystery about Jalen Jackson Jr. is he's this great player. He was Defensive Player of the Year. He's got like way more blocks in the last 4 years than 100 more than the next closest guy. He's got like 400 blocks, but he had 4 rebounds tonight, and that's typical for him. And it's weird that he can block all these shots and he can't get a rebound. But partway when you go for every block, which he does, he tries to block every shot, then you take yourself out of position to get rebounds. And sometimes I think Duran doesn't go for blocks, and because he's trying to get the rebound. So anyway, Bogey tonight, 31 minutes. So he's looking real healthy. 8 for 15 from the floor, which is good. 4 for 8 on threes. 2 for 2 from the line. 4 rebounds. 7 assists, which is phenomenal. He looked great passing the ball, but they were all in the first half, and that was too bad. But three steals he had. 2 turnovers. 22 points. Stu, 27 minutes. 3 for 7. 1 for 3 on threes. He made his last one. So 2 for 2 on free throws, 7 rebounds, 1 assist. He had 5 fouls, so he struggled. He struggled a lot of times. He had to be the person. His man was the guy setting the pick for Bane, and so he had to switch off on Bane. Him and Livers did, and they struggled to stop him. And I know one time, I mean, Stu was right out on him at the 3-point line. He had to switch because they were targeting him on that pick and roll away from the basket, so that Stu's man set the pick, so Bane got to be on Stu. But Stu was right there with his hand up, and Bane hit the shot from way deep, a deep 3. So anyway, Cade was 34 minutes, which is about what I think he should play, and to not get too tired. He was 6 for 14 and 1 for 5 on threes. Again, he 1 for 1 in the first half. 3 for 3 on free throws, 4 rebounds, 10 assists, which is he's been racking up the assists a lot lately. His assists are going way up. His turnovers are going down, but 5 turnovers tonight, and they're just some passes that he just can't make. He just makes turnovers. That, he sees the open guy, he thinks, but he doesn't account for the defense. Biggest loss of the night was adding um, just a terrible thing was Duran. Towards the end of the game, he got to play 30 minutes, but he went up for a rebound and came down on another guy's foot, and his ankle completely turned under. So he's going to miss 2 to 3 weeks, and his ankles have been bad, and so they're going to be cautious. And he has been so tough. He was 8 for 12 tonight, 11 rebounds. He did have 2 turnovers, and he tried to make again. He tries to make a cool pass, just like CADE does sometimes. And a guy's cutting to the basket, and he tries to throw a bounce pass through traffic, and it's a turnover. So he's got to do better on that. He's better off not throwing the pass. But he had 17 points. But we are in trouble with. I mean, again, nobody wants you. All you people that have said that injuries aren't an excuse, or that listen to me say when Bogey comes back, we're going to be better, and I think we are, but we still lost tonight, and so you have a right to say, see, you were wrong, but that's all right. I still believe what I believe, and I'm not right all the time, but we need Duran, and I don't. It looks like he's going to be out a while. I would anticipate so. Killian, 27 minutes, 5 for 13, and he had been on fire the first 2 games. He was on fire the first half tonight, and then the second half he shot really bad. So he's still played okay. 1 for 3 on threes, 1 for 1 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 turnovers. So that's been the thing that I think why Monty plays him all the time. Even when he shoots bad, is because he doesn't usually turn it over. But tonight he had 3, so he had 12 points. So he turns it over he's turned it over in the first 3 years of his career, but this year his assist to turnover ratio has been really good. He's one of the, per time he handles the ball, turns it over less than anybody on the team. Livers, 19 minutes, 2 for 5, 1 for 4 on threes, and he's a floor spacer, and he's been shooting like this. He's been 1 for 4, 1 for 5, 2 for 8, and he's not spacing the floor. And the problem is he doesn't give you much else. He's not a great athlete. He's a smart defender, but smart defenders in the NBA doesn't necessarily mean if you're not quick enough, fast enough, strong enough, can't jump high enough, and you're not a great defender. So he had, he doesn't do much. Tonight he played those 19 minutes, but he had 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 5 points. And he's out there, and I don't know. So I give the minutes to Ausar. Ausar is our future. Ausar can rebound the crap out of the ball, and Ausar is a phenomenal defender. He can't shoot. He made his first 3 tonight, and then he missed his next 3. So he had 16 minutes though. He can't just play 16 minutes. Again, I'm okay if he plays 16 minutes if we're trying to win a game and he's struggling in the game and he's not doing anything, or somebody else is red hot, and then play him 20 minutes. But he should play 25 to 30 minutes, average about 28 minutes a night. We're trying to build this team. We want to find out. Is IVEY, how good is IVEY? Do we want to pay Killian? Do we want to pay CADE the rookie max extension? Are we going to keep Burks? Are we going to keep, Monty Morris when he comes back? What are we going to do with Bogey? Are we going to try to trade him at the trade deadline? Are we going to keep him? All those questions need to be answered, but we just got to play Ausar, though. That's my big point. We got to play IVEY. That's the biggest thing is playing IVEY. The biggest injustice to me, and it hurts our team. It hurts our team when IVEY doesn't play. I mean, I can see with Ausar when you say he can't shoot threes, so he can't space the floor, and so therefore you don't want to play him as much. But with IVEY can shoot the 3. And IVEY can get to the rim better than anybody on our team, and IVEY can finish at the rim better than anybody on our team. So Burks, 17 minutes, and this has been a killer. So again, there's enough blame to go around for everybody, and it's not Troy, it's everybody. When you're this bad in the 4th year of a rebuild, but guys like Burks, we counted on him. He was phenomenal last year. He was phenomenally consistent last year shooting the ball. He was 40% 3-point shooter last year. Like, like clockwork, and he's just struggled since he got injured. He started out the year red hot, and he was 1 for 6 from the floor, 1 for 5 on threes in 17 minutes. And we need that spacing. We need shooters. The biggest thing we need is again that shooting. We need shooting, and if uh, Troy needs to be criticized for anything, it's not getting enough shooting. And again, Monty Morris is a good shooter. Bogey showed tonight he's a good shooter, and those guys have been hurt all year. But the rest of the guys, you just can't keep on drafting guys that can't shoot. So hopefully this next draft we get a guy that can shoot. So, and hopefully we can trade and sign. Again, I've said this multiple times that we need to prioritize a power forward, stretch four that can shoot the three and is a great defender, like um, Jaden McDaniels for Minnesota. The guy only scores like 12 points a game, but he shoots 40% on threes and 50% on twos, and he's like an all NBA defender, like Ausar is, only he can shoot threes. So we don't have to have a guy that can score 20 a game, although we need more scoring because that is a problem. And tonight Bagley was out, and I can't remember what injury he had, but he wasn't playing tonight. So hopefully he can get back by Friday. We play in Orlando, and Orlando is tough, and they're maybe got the best record in the East, and they're one of the top 2 defensive teams in the East. And we can only score like we did tonight. That's about what we score: 102, 10, or 103. I don't know how many games we scored like 103. So we don't shoot the three well enough, and you have to make 3-point baskets to score that many points. And we just don't have enough scorers that we run out these guys that just struggle to score. So we shot 45%. They shot 52%. Again, we shot 31% on threes. They shot 42%. Free throws were pretty even. Rebounds were close. We only got 9 free throws the whole night, but they didn't. They were 11 for 14. But our big bugaboo, 17 turnovers, and they get 21 points. So every game we turn over about 17 times, and every game our opponents score like 20 turnovers against us. So anyway, I'm just going to run through Back to the Future, or no, we're going to just go back to the past and talk about that 2004 series against the Indiana Pacers. They thought they were going to beat us, especially after game one, and they had the team, man. They were tough top to bottom. They were loaded. But game one we lost. Listen to these scores. Just listen to these. We lost 78-74. Game two, we win 72-67. That team had like 13 games in a row or 11 games in a row or something where they held opponents to under 80 points, but in the playoffs. And so this was a series. So game three, we win 85-78. And game four, the Pacers win 83-68. We only scored 68 points. They were a tough defensive team. They had Jermaine O'Neal. He was tough. And they just had a lot of tough guys. Game five, 83-65, we win. We held them to 65 points. And then in game six, we only score 69 points, and we win 69-65. So that was good memories going back. Like I said, those games were just incredible, and I went to all those games, and it was fun to watch. But thank you again for listening. Please subscribe and be the reason that someone feels valued and cared for. Give somebody a call that you haven't talked to in a while that you think might need encouraged, or just to hear your voice. And let's get this thing turned around and go into Orlando and knock off the Magic. I might not be putting on my telecast until Saturday because I might be going to my granddaughter's game. So anyway, thank you for listening, and go Pistons.